Yeah, you got a copy there as well, too. All right, I'll put that in the form of a motion that we accept the treasurer's transfer report.
Second.
I got a motion by second district magistrate Lawson, a second by fourth district magistrate
Oh,
Bullitt,
yeah, I got
to
that.
approve the treasurer's transfer report as presented. Sam, call the roll, please.
Logston,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Leamel,
Yes.
Judge Summers,
Yes.
Sanders,
Yes.
motion carried.
Presentation and approval of all bills.
I make a motion that we approve all bills as presented.
Second.
Got a motion by second district magistrate Lawson, second by fourth district magistrate Williams, to approve the bills as presented. Sam, call the roll, please.
Johnson,
Yes.
Leamel,
Yes.
Judge Summers,
Yes,
Sanders,
Yes.
Logston,
Yes.
motion carried.
thank you. Treasurer's report.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the treasurer's report.
I'll second.
Have a motion by first district magistrate Sanders, second by third district magistrate Johnson, to approve the treasurer's report as presented in the packet. Sam, call the roll, please.
Leamel,
Yes.
Judge Summers,
Yes,
Sanders,
Yes.
Logston,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
motion carried.
thank you. Approval of the minutes for November the 7th, 2023, reports and fiscal court.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes for November the 7th, 2023.
Second.
We got a motion by first district magistrate Sanders, a second by fourth district magistrate Flamo, to approve the November 7th, 2023, bulletin and fiscal court minutes as presented. Sam, call the roll, please.
Judge Summers,
I'm gonna have to abstain, I wasn't here for the meeting.
Sanders,
Yes.
Logston,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Leamel,
Yes.
motion carried.
Thank you. We do have some guest speakers. First one is Richard from Brooks Hill Road. Tallgrass, South Hazard.
Sorry I left without my hearing aids. My name is Richard. We moved to 1650 Brooks Hill Road last fall, and I'm here this morning to discuss Bullitt County tallgrass health hazard since I've received notice of violation of having tall grass. Since moving to Bullitt County, I've been in touch with Bullitt County Extension Office, Bullitt County Conservation Office, and both have given me encouragement and advice to the best practices for developing a Kentucky native plant area. The Conservation District has invited me to apply for their cost-sharing program to be reimbursed 50% for planting native plants. I have also been in touch with Bullitt County Environmental Health Department, and I'm asking this fiscal court to review this current ordinance and consider that the language does not make an allowance for landowners like me. People who are choosing to create spaces different than just lawn. But glasses don't help either. I'm doing this to increase habitat for pollinators and to help reduce the carbon footprint from lawnmowers in my own backyard. It appears to me that the ordinance is being enforced even if found to be in contradiction with other counties, state, and federal funded programs. I would like to apply for cost sharing like was offered by the Conservation District office, but I need to know that following through with any program would not cause further violation. I'd like to mention that Metro Louisville, Prospect have gone through the process of updating their ordinance as well as other counties and cities, and as far as that goes, countries. Thank you very much for your time.
So, Richard, to summarize, Richard?
I need an interpreter.
Okay,
Yell in my
so-
ear.
I hope hope I'm speaking English. So, okay, let me help you with this a little bit. So what you're asking for is for us to review our ordinance? So what you're asking us to do is review our ordinance on the, what I'm gonna say, tall grass and health hazards, okay? I just wanna make sure for clarity here. Yes, sir. You have a blessed day. Thank you.
Thanks.
Appreciate your all's patience.
Uh-huh.
Barry Cook?
Ladies and gentlemen of the court in Bullitt County, if I may. What I was sharing with the court is just a couple things that I'd like to talk about real quick. First, Proverbs 31, 8 and 9 says, as a Christian, as a believer, I should open my mouth for the mute, for the rights of all those who are destitute. Open your mouth, judge righteously, defends the rights of the poor and the needy. So what I passed out to the court is, that is the obituary for Jason Adcock. See, Jason Adcock was a father. He was a son. He went to Bullitt County, Bullitt Central. His wife went to Bullitt North. But unfortunately, he was homeless. He came to us. I met him last winter at our White Flag shelter. But you all may just know him as the guy who got hit by the train. Just another homeless guy. Or maybe you may know him as the homeless people that Perry's bringing from Louisville, right? Or something like that. But instead, he was someone who's born, raised here in Bullitt County, needed mental health help, needed help with his drug addiction because his mental health onset was late in life. He was only 28 when he was first diagnosed with his mental health issues. He came to Mark 12 this summer, and we were just unequipped to be able to help him in his situation. And he didn't want to go down to downtown Louisville. I was wondering how many of you guys have kids or grandkids on the court. Could you imagine if one of your children at 28, 29 had late onset schizophrenia or bipolarism and had some trouble with addiction? Where would we help them here in the county? We wouldn't be able to. So when I was getting done with the candlelight vigil last Sunday for the two young boys that were murdered by their mother, we went to the viewing for Jason. And I just want to give him a name. I want to give him a face. He wasn't just some guy who was homeless, living over here by the train tracks that got hit by the train. He was someone who struggled with mental health and struggled with addiction, and we couldn't help him. And it breaks my heart. Last year, when our lease was ended a month early for the White Flag Shelter by the city of Shepherdsville, we were assured that there were going to be conversations, that we were going to figure this out, that we were going to do something. Well, it's going to be 29 degrees next week in the evenings. We'll not be operating a White Flag Shelter this year, Mark 12 Ministries. So I think it's time we have a conversation. And also, if anyone has any questions on whether or not I'm bringing homeless people from Louisville, as I have been accused of doing, I'd be more than happy to sit down with you and show you where our van has been for the last year. You can come to my office. And I can also tell you that the problem we have is real and it's here now. And also, and I know my time is up, I got a call last week from parole. An inmate from Mississippi was released. He's on parole here at Bullitt County. He's homeless. Now what? Well, he's a convicted criminal who is roaming the streets of Shepherdsville. He's at your Walmart. He's at our Kroger's. Just like last year when we had the White Flag Shelter and we encountered that sex offender. See, we have no safety net. We have no net. And I just think it's time that we have a conversation about it. Thanks.
Thank you, Barry. David Littlejohn, Bullitt County Extension.
Good morning, everyone.
I know you're gonna lower the tax rate, right?
They actually did.
So,
Oh, I'm sorry. That's okay. Yeah,
I can hop back up here.
yeah, Becca Sherman.
Oh, whoops.
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Yeah, appreciate your time. I would have been sad if I got skipped over. Good morning. Thanks for allowing me to come speak to you today. My name is Becca Truman, and I'm here to support Mr. Steelberg, who just spoke a few minutes ago, strength in numbers, right? And to most specifically speak to the Bullitt County nuisance ordinance on the tall grass, the excessive grass language there, and the limitations it places on landowners who are working to create pollinator and native plant gardens and meadows. So I currently work professionally as a consultant across Kentucky and many states in water resources, conservation, and finance, and I have experience both working for county and federal government. Further, I have extensive professional and personal experience with planting and maintaining native plant and pollinator gardens. So in response to the massive worldwide decline in wildlife, which includes birds and pollinators, many small property owners are really trying to take it upon themselves to make that switch from turf grass to native plants and pollinator gardens. While these spaces are indeed cared for and purposeful, aesthetically we understand that they can look wild and unkempt, especially in the fall and winter when the stems have died back and they look that kind of orangey brown color. But regardless of the appearance, these spaces are really essential food and habitat for overwintering species. I kind of like to say it'd be unfair to invite a guest over for dinner and then kick them out after the appetizers. So I've been to Mr. Steelberg's property, and I can say he's following professional science-backed guidelines for growing native plant gardens. These spaces truly don't happen overnight. They take time, and being used to lawns and annual flowers, it's really hard to remember that, you know, saplings and small trees, they take decades, right, to really become the beautiful massive trees that we appreciate so much. So patience is really key. Regardless of the personal reason someone has for converting their yard to lawn, or from their yard to lawn or something else, these violations are complaint driven, and this makes the complainer really the loudest voice in the room. And when reading the ordinance at face value, I can tell that it doesn't really make sense for the property with native plants to be in violation for excess grass, because it's not grass. Lawns have been part of our culture for only about 60 years or so, yet they serve to some as a staple of life where anything else is just seen as wrong. So with this violation, we're seeing that there can be very substantial consequences to this view of somebody working really hard on something in their yard and then somebody has an issue and it just results in these consequences. So while the effort and resources and environmental damage to maintain lawns is truly enormous, native plants sort of had the opposite purpose, to really replenish our resources and help the environment. So I just encourage greater work and effort around creating more spaces for learning and education. I also encourage greater understanding around the use of the term weed. So this term doesn't really make any sense. It's subjective, it's opinion based. So when someone has a view that a plant is out of place, you know, they're certainly welcome to feel that way. But it's truly opinion based and not based on any scientific understanding. So in addition to the confusion of the ordinance, there's huge contradiction when it comes to having county staff and programs that support this, and then other county policies that say it's wrong. In general, there's a sweeping movement of municipalities changing their local ordinances. Mr. Steelberg mentioned Prospect in Louisville. So I know I'm out of time, but just with that, I'm glad to speak further about this. I'm glad to provide any resources or support or connection for this group, and would just encourage you to relook at that language and kind of update it to what people want to do with their yards today. And thank you for your time.
You're welcome, Beth. And if you would, courtesy for us, if you would, we've got your contact information. If you would, when we start looking at the ordinance, Ms. Renfro can give you a call.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you.
Do you happen to have the ordinance number or anything?
Well, it's the solid waste ordinance, which sort of includes everything nuisance-based. I can find the number, but
That'd be fine.
We can
We
get
can
it.
look
I
it up.
can see that.
Yeah.
yeah, the excessive grass is sort of like one piece of the whole ordinance, which talks about people's property.
Do you happen to have any pictures of what you're referring to?
Not on me, but I'm certainly happy to share something. What would be most helpful for you?
I'm in the dark about all this, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
It feels
Yeah.
like you're, like, you all have asked us to change the ordinance, and then like Brian brought up, I don't even know what ordinance we're talking about.
Sure.
So, I mean, has there been some situation in the community that's triggered this?
Yeah,
Did
so-
somebody complain
okay.
about his yard, or?
Yeah,
I
so
don't
he
even know
has a
what's going on.
violation
Got a
right now.
violation notice.
Yeah.
He got a violation because of letting his
So
yard
he
grow
has-
up, I guess, people
It says
think
he
he's
has
just
till
not
next
mowing
Tuesday
it.
to take action, or he's gonna be fined.
Okay, so someone assumes, I guess, he's just not mowing his yard and it's growed up looks out of control, but in his defense, he's trying to establish some type of tall
Native
grass.
plant.
Native plant
All
space,
better
yeah, and
habitat.
he's had Extension, Conservation District, and others provide support.
And have you looked at our ordinance? You feel like that there's some things in there that could be changed?
I have, just because if it's saying excessive grass, but I look at that and it's not excessive grass, so clarifying, so what Louisville did, last year was they explicitly put in the ordinance native plant gardens are allowed. So that's where a lot of this becomes like opinion-based, and understandably, people just are learning, we're all learning, right? So kind of
Right.
creating spaces to learn about what these places are. It's certainly not somebody just like stopped mowing and it's all growing up. It's really intentional, even though it might not always look that way to most
Okay.
people.
Does he live, I couldn't remember the address. Do you live in the city, does he live in the city limits of the county, or?
The county. He
The
is
county.
in the district.
Okay.
I did receive a call on his property. I did go out and look at it. It was piles of brush, grass, rock. It was just a total mess. I reached out to Christie, and Christie's been working on it. So Christie, if you want to add or show pictures.
Yeah, and I'm explicitly talking about the piece that is the native plant garden in the back. I'm not speaking to anything else.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you seen this gentleman's property?
I have, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So what he's trying to do is kill off some of the grass, so that way he has purposeful plants, and it's a process. It doesn't happen overnight, so.
Is
he's
some of
got-
these other communities, do they have like a permit, or how do you establish when somebody's just letting their yard grow up versus somebody that's really got a strategic plan?
Because you gotta be able to know the difference.
Yeah,
Your code
yeah.
enforcement has to be able to know, is it just homeowner who's letting this stuff grow up, or is it the purposeful garden?
I mean, a lot of it, honestly, education and just,
Right.
you know, like if you have a connection with, you've got a conservation district, and I used to serve on my board in Jefferson County, so I'm very familiar with how they work. And so if you have a conservation district and extension office, those are your local resources. So instead of giving somebody a fine, in my opinion, I would call them up and say, hey, does this look, you know, like you don't need to be the expert, you've got experts in your own community, and they can tell you.
Perfect timing. You're here, you're here.
Hey, I have a 4-H background, I can't tell you a whole lot, I might get in trouble. Now, we have two fine agents in horticulture and agriculture that are tremendous to work with, that really do a good job with this, because this is something that we are seeing across the state as well. This is
Okay.
not something that's just new to Bullitt County. You know, a lot of people ask about this, it's really good, especially if, you know, you don't have to water your yard as much if you use native plants or native to the area. Give it a little bit, well, I'm not the expert, sorry, but no, for the most part, there are some benefits to that, and that's just based on our education, not really my opinion, but based on extension publications and whatnot. But I'd be happy to,
Yeah.
Nathan Ryder, Lorley Coonsey, they're fantastic with those areas. So,
It sounds like we need to probably, as a court, maybe talk
Sure,
with
sure,
our own,
sure,
talk to our own
absolutely.
extension
Sure.
office and maybe get some ideas and see if we're in line or out of line, because I think that is gonna be the key, is establishing, you know, making sure somebody's doing it the right way and not just looking for a loophole to, I don't know that I necessarily wanna live next door to somebody that's got 4 or 5 foot tall grass, even if
Yeah.
it's drawn in, you know, wildlife.
And that's
or-
the problem.
You know, so we gotta figure out, you
Well,
know,
in
what
this
the
case,
happy
you've
medium
got a
is.
22-acre farm that looks about the same behind, and he's got like less than a tenth of an acre he's trying to do this too. So
Who
you got-
did, who does?
That's what I wanted to
Where the
ask.
violation is.
Oh, okay,
You've
see,
got
that-
a 22-acre farm on the back side of it, and the field I saw looks pretty much, he's just an extension of that, so it's not, we're not talking about
Yeah.
like house to house,
House
like
to
pure
house. Okay.
lawn either. So you gotta look at
Okay.
like the context of the, what
Yeah,
that
yeah.
landscape
Well,
looks like.
thank you for
Yeah.
coming for sure, and it
It's-
sounds
it's-
like it definitely is gonna get some dialogue started to see what,
And
you
that's-
know. what
Yeah,
we
you've
can
got
do.
work
great local
everywhere.
resources, I'm happy to provide additional help
Okay.
for anybody,
Do
but
you have a card or contact information? or-
I can grab a card.
Okay.
Just give it to somebody.
You got all our contact? Okay.
Do you want me to,
That's good, he's got your
I can
information
give
on
you
the
my
sheet.
email too if you want.
Yeah, that'd be
Is
good.
email helpful? Do you want me to write my
Can you
email?
handle that sheet, put our email on there?
Do you need a pen?
And to be clear though, Ron, Ms. Sanders said that she went to the property. It's possible that it's a violation regardless of this issue if there's other debris or things of that nature. There was a lot of debris.
For zoning,
And to help you a little bit,
zoning.
Rose is here, and if you could speak to Ms. Christie for a few minutes for clarification.
And we might want to communicate to him in the back somehow what we're talking about. I hate to be up here talking and he can't even hear what we're talking about. So if somebody can, if somebody can interpret that to him back there, I know.
So his complaint started with more than just grass. And we've just asked for some progress with each item that was listed on there. The grass portion was a small portion of it. And we're trying to administer the nuisance ordinance, which is 03-04, the ordinance, the county ordinance, consistently throughout the non-incorporated areas of the county. Brush debris, I know he has made some progress with the grass portion he's talking about, but the second notice that was received was for not the grass, for the other items listed on there, which, you know, aren't a topic of conversation today. So you were right in speaking that there were other items. And he has made several visits to the office, and we have spoken about just progress. So we are, you know, in communication.
Okay.
And we're happy to look at the grass portion. You know, I have an environmental background. I understand everything you're saying. There are opportunities to change our ordinance, but specifically, we want to be consistent in our application for, you know, neighbors, the complaint process. So.
Christie and I had already met a couple of times to work on the business ordinance, so that's already, an update was
It
already in the
is.
works.
We're working on
Not
updates.
to the specific issue, but we've been talking about how to update.
Great. Great. Thank you, Christie. Thank you, Ms. Baker. Okay, David.
All right. Good morning, everyone.
Morning. Good, how are you?
Thanks.
Great, thank you.
All right, good morning, everyone. Just want to introduce myself. My name is David Littlejohn. I'm the county manager of the Bullitt County Extension Office here in Shepherdsville. So today, what we were doing is, because we are a special taxing district, we wanted to present our tax rates to the fiscal court. If you look on here, I have my cheat sheet here as far as real property rate, 0.90. That rate actually dropped from 0.91. Doesn't sound like a lot, but we usually take an undercompensating rate that's provided by Frankfurt and the University of Kentucky. Personal property is 0.91. Actually, the compensating rate for that is 1.20, so we take well under the compensating rate for that. And motor vehicle 1.03, and that has not changed since 1989. So those are the tax rates we use that helps fund our operations for the year. We have some exciting things coming up as well. Our district board has voted to hire an architect. We're hoping to expand our facilities to include teaching a kitchen with like a demo kitchen with like 5 or 6, 7, 8 little small kitchens. We're going to add some office spaces and hopefully expand our staff too. So we're at 15 staff right now, and we've actually added fine arts this past year, so we're really excited about that. So we have a lot of great things going on for this year, and our doors are always open. We welcome you if you have any questions. If you want to be a hobbyist farmer, if you're getting into farming, we have a lot of people that are first-time farmers right now. They're buying 4 or 5 acres. They're just having a small hobby farm that they're raising fruits and vegetables. We're always happy to serve. So, do you all have any questions or anything? Over anything? I just want to present these to you. Yes, ma'am.
Several people reached out to me about
We, as far as equine, we do offer services with that. Unfortunately, like for 4-H wise, we don't right now. We have had it in the past, but as far as a 4-H club with equine, there's a lot of stipulations. The insurance is quite a bit higher. But I mean, that's besides the point. But you have to have certified livestock volunteers to offer that. And the past few years, a lot of our volunteers, their kids have either aged out or they've moved away. So we're kind of in a lull at the moment as far as the equine for youth. But if there's any questions about equine in general, they can come to us and we can point them in the right direction. We have, I want to say, dozens of equine specialists at UK that are sometimes happy to come down and free of charge to the public. It's an awesome service. I mean, we're the best at equine in the state, so anything we can always help with, they just need to call our office. We can get them in the right direction.
So, if I may, this equine certification that a volunteer has to get before they can work with kids on that,
Yes.
where do they get that?
Well, they have to get through, it's a 4-H program. They have to, it's like a 2-day event, and they just need to contact one of our 4-H agents. They offer them in the spring and the fall.
So that 4-H agent is in Bullitt County that they would contact, or do
Yes.
they have to go to Frankfurt?
No, I'm sorry. No, we do have 2 4-H agents here in the county. So Tori Reinman and Samantha Gamblin are our 2 4-H agents. They'll be happy to help you out with that. Tori's the one that usually works with animal sciences, so she'd be the one to, I'd say, the primary contact for that.
And do you happen to know if let's say, I don't know, 3 people, 5 people, 10 people were to get in touch with them and want to become a certified whatever it is?
Yes.
Would they be able to take that here, or will they have to travel across the state somewhere?
They offer it both ways. They offer virtual. They also offer in person. They offer one like Rough River, and then they offer one usually somewhere in the eastern side of the state.
Okay.
But most of it's online now, so it's a little easier. But there's a client protection thing we have to go through for certification process. Client protection process as far as, background checks. It's like applying for a job is crazy, but there is a few steps to the process. But once they get started, they get the information that's needed. They work with the agent, and off they go. We have the facilities to do it. We have an arena we haven't used in a long time that we like to dredge back up and use. We do. It used to be quite large. It used to be quite large. We've actually cut it down a little bit because we added a pavilion up in that area, but it's still large enough. It's still a very large arena.
That sounds like that might be something to really get started back.
Yes.
I love everything you all do. My
Thank
daughter actually went to the 4-H camp. I was one of the counselors this past summer.
Oh, really?
So
Cool.
she was super excited about that, had a great time, and I know, y'all do so many things. It's almost, it's easy to forget about
It
what
is.
you do there. I mean, but thank you for what you do.
Absolutely. And that's the thing we always see. It's like we offer quite a bit. A lot of people don't know to reach out to us first, but once you hear about us, you come see us, we're always happy to help. So, awesome. Well, thank you all so much.
Thank you,
Thank you.
David. We have an amendment, we have an addition to the presentation.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I wanted to, we this past week had the annual meeting for KIPTA, and as most of you all know, we have 2 voting members on the KIPTA board, myself, at large, and then the judge executive. The city of Shepherdsville and the city of Mount Washington also have voting members on the KIPTA board. But one of the things I wanted to talk about a little bit is just an update on the impact that KIPTA has here. When I started here about 9 years ago, we had no influence and really no working relationship with KIPTA, even though we were members. We pay over $7,000 a year to be a member of KIPTA, but we really didn't take advantage of that. And when I first started here, I was solely concentrating on roads. And as everybody knows here, it takes a long time to get roads done. But in the last, under Judge Summers, things have really picked up and changed. And I wanted to kind of give you all a little bit of an update here on some of the things that we've gotten just in the last year and a half. And it has covered all sections of Bullitt County. It's gone from, and it's not just roads. That was always my concentration, but it's water. It's social services. It's utility assistance. It's counseling services. These are all things that KIPTA has available that we really didn't take full advantage of, that we are now taking advantage of. I just wanted to hit some of the highlights. The Maryville Park, which we've had presentations on that. KIPTA helped with the grant process with that. They have grant writers there. They have grants that they send out to us, and we just got a list of new grants that the judge will be sharing with all the directors so that they can work with KIPTA and have a grant writer help them write these grants. And some of them, you have a match, some of them you don't. So that's something that's very important that KIPTA helps us with. You all know, and we had some magistrates come for our water, for our groundbreaking, for our water initiatives, Roe Hill. We had Oak Street, John Lee, Foster Lane, Eagles Run, Hunter's Hollow. All of those we had to initiate those, but KIPTA went hand in hand with us on this. They helped with the grants. They helped with making sure that we were doing everything. They administered all of that as well. And again, just for that $7,000 that we pay a year, there was no other charge on that except for any of the grants that might have a match to them. Lebanon Junction. Lebanon Junction doesn't have a vote on KIPTA, but we've got the pump station there. We did some things in Hillview. They did help with all of the cities that needed help when ARPA first came out and making sure that their paperwork was done correctly. So they went with them on that. They also provided meals. When we were providing meals during the COVID shutdown, KIPTA was helping with that as well. They were providing some assistance on meals as well. They also have direct counseling services that they help with. And they even have 442 individuals receive direct benefit counseling from the state health insurance program that they administered. They conduct outreach. They work with the older folks. We're trying to get that back up and running. Of course, that took a huge hit during COVID, and that is now something that we're trying to bring back. It's part of that is once and we see this in a lot of things. After COVID, a lot of people's attitudes, a lot of the things that they were used to doing, that they stopped doing, it's hard to get them back into the swing of that. But KIPTA helps administer that as well. And just to wrap it up, again, to show we really didn't have a presence here for a long, long time. And the thought process was Jefferson County gets everything, Louisville gets everything. Because KIPTA is, as a region, we have the two southern Indiana counties, and then it's Jefferson, Bullitt, Oldham, Shelby, Spencer, Henry, Trimble. I think I got them all. I think that's all of them. That's the KIPTA region. Now, they work closely with District 5 as well. So one of the reasons you're starting to see some movement on roads is because we're now a stronger force in KIPTA, but we've worked to have better relationships with District 5, and KIPTA has helped with that as well. Having said that, two things happened at the annual meeting. One, it's called the KITE Award. It's the Kentucky Indiana Transportation Excellence Award. There were 4 nominees. One of the nominees was the turning lane on 44 in front of Bullitt East. We came in second. But to have that even mentioned in that, and when they did this beautiful presentation of this thing and said that is just the first leg of finishing 44 out. That was part of the presentation. When we did, and who we lost to was Southern Indiana, but what they did is there was a town square that they basically turned it in. It looks like Mayberry, and they did the roads. And I watched it and I was like mad that we came in second. And then I saw that and I thought, I get it. That was a really cool thing that won. But to come in second. The second thing that happened was Judge Summers was elected to the executive board and as secretary treasurer. So we go from not having any influence to now, in 2 years, Judge Summers will be the chairman of the board of KIPTA. And that is a huge deal. That is a very big deal. It shows if we just try, if we reach out, if we put the work in, as somebody told me, they're show horses and work horses. We become the workhorse. And that's starting to pay off for this. So I just wanted to congratulate the judge, congratulate the county on the KITE Award coming in second, and to know that is something that's going to move forward on down the line. But just to kind of give you all an update on what's going on here. Are there any questions?
Keith, you mentioned something about direct counseling. I never was aware that KIPTA had anything
Yeah.
at all to do with that. Is that anything there that could trickle
Yes.
down and help Perry there at all?
Well, there is, and part of the thing, and something else that'll happen, will help with Perry, and I think Tammy probably addressed this better than I can, the mental health court
Yeah.
that we're doing. And that's part of what they can help with as well. And it's having access, again, when I first started going to these meetings, I was just all about roads. That was it, because that was just kind of part of the job. You had to, we needed
Right.
that in the worst way. We're starting to see the fruit. We're starting to bear the fruit on that. But there's a whole section that is social services. They take more time in the meetings than anybody else does, to tell you the truth. So that is part of that. There are things that they can work with. Now, they are limited staff like everybody else, that type of thing, but yes. And again, I think having that, knowing that that's starting to beef up and get going, and then what Tammy is doing with the mental health court.
And I didn't know about that social services wing until we spoke about it
Yeah.
that time. I had no idea KIPTA did stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's another resource we do intend to tap into once we get up and running.
It sounds like there could be a possibility of grants or money
Yes.
Yeah.
available there to help.
And we
assist
have
with
that, and I have the list of those, and I will share those with everybody.
Okay.
And again, they're great to work with. It takes time. You don't always, and that's the other thing too. Just because you apply for a grant doesn't mean you're going to get it. That's the other thing. But we are in a better position. Again, Judge Summers being on the executive board and in line to be chairman of the board, this makes, our influence is there now. People know we're there. And it showed by coming in, like I said, getting the runner-up for the Excellence Award was a big deal as well. Anything else?
No, thanks for the update and everything you do there behind the scenes to make everything successful.
Thank you.
No business, second reading for zoning ordinance 2023 Z-39, Gabby, to revoke the trust.
Commonwealth of Kentucky, County of Bullitt, zoning ordinance number 23-39. An ordinance relating to the changing of zoning of certain property from agricultural to R2 residential. Property in question is 5.171 acres, more or less, located at 5942 Highway 44 East, parcel number 063-NW0-03-002, in an unincorporated area of the county. Whereas the Fiscal Court of Bullitt County has considered the evidence of the public hearing held by the Joint Planning Commission and the recommendations of the Commission, the information provided in the staff report of the Office of Bullitt County Planning and Zoning, and the testimony and evidence presented at the public hearing held by the Fiscal Court, and whereas the Fiscal Court concurs in and adopts the reasons of the Joint Planning Commission for said zoning change, and approves and accepts the recommendations of the Planning Commission in this matter as set out in said minutes, and determines that the proposed zoning change is acceptable and should be approved. Now therefore be it ordained by the Fiscal Court of County of Bullitt, Commonwealth of Kentucky, Section 1, that the above property located in the unincorporated area of Bullitt County, and more particularly described in the minutes and records of the Planning Commission in docket number 2023 Z-58, is hereby changed from agricultural to R2 residential. Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect upon passage and publication as required by law. Section 3, should any section, provision, or part of this ordinance be declared unconstitutional or invalid for any reason by a court of competent jurisdiction, then the remainder of this ordinance shall not be affected and shall remain in full force and effect. Section 4, all ordinances and resolutions to the extent they are inconsistent herewith are hereby repealed. Given first reading and public hearing at a regular meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on the 7th day of November 2023. Given second reading at a regular meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on the 21st day of November 2023.
Thank you, Tammy. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Got a motion by Judge Summers, a second by 4th District Magistrate Clemens to approve zoning ordinance 2023 Z-39, the Gabby Irrevocable Trust. Sam, call the roll, please.
Sanders.
Yes.
Logston.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Gleagle.
Yes.
Judge Summers.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Second reading for zoning
Commonwealth of Kentucky, County of Bullitt, zoning ordinance number 23-40. An ordinance relating to the changing of zoning of certain property from agricultural to R1 residential. The property in question is 3.87 acres more or less, located at 4643 Zelton Road, parcel number 061-000-00-021 in an unincorporated area of the county. Whereas the Fiscal Court of Bullitt County has considered the evidence of the public hearing held by the Joint Planning Commission and the recommendations of the Commission, the information provided in the staff report of the Office of Bullitt County Planning and Zoning, and the testimony and evidence presented at the public hearing held by the Fiscal Court, and whereas the Fiscal Court concurs in and adopts the reasons of the Joint Planning Commission for said zoning change, and approves and accepts the recommendations of the Planning Commission in this matter as set out in said minutes, and determines that the proposed zoning change is acceptable and should be approved. Now therefore be it ordained by the Fiscal Court of County of Bullitt, Commonwealth of Kentucky. Section 1, that the above property located in the unincorporated area of Bullitt County, and more particularly described in the minutes and records of the Planning Commission in docket number 2023Z-59, is hereby changed from agricultural to R1 residential. Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect upon passage and publication as required by law. Section 3, should any section, provision, or part of this ordinance be declared unconstitutional or invalid for any reason by a court of competent jurisdiction, that the remainder of this ordinance shall not be affected and shall remain in full force and effect. Section 4, all ordinances and resolutions to the extent they are inconsistent herewith are hereby repealed. Given first reading and public hearing at a regular meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on the 7th day of November 2023. Given second reading at a regular meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on the 21st day of November 2023.
Thank you, Tammy.
I'll make the motion that we proceed with this zoning 2023Z-40.
Got a motion by third district magistrate Johnson, a second by second district magistrate Lawson to approve zoning ordinance 2023-40 to encase trustee Andrew Family Wealth. Sam, call roll, please.
Logston?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Leamel?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Sanders?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Second reading for zoning ordinance 2023-41. Lily Gentry.
Commonwealth of Kentucky, County of Bullitt, zoning ordinance number 23-41. An ordinance relating to the changing of zoning of certain property from agricultural to R1 residential. The property in question is 1.62 acres more or less, located at 1917 Bogart Lane, parcel number 071-NW0-03-007 in an unincorporated area of the county. Whereas the Fiscal Court of Bullitt County has considered the evidence of the public hearing held by the Joint Planning Commission and the recommendations of the Commission, the information provided in the staff report of the Office of Bullitt County Planning and Zoning, and the testimony and evidence presented at the public hearing held by the Fiscal Court, and whereas the Fiscal Court concurs in and adopts the reasons of the Joint Planning Commission for said zoning change, and approves and accepts the recommendations of the Planning Commission in this matter as set out in said minutes, and determines that the proposed zoning change is acceptable and should be approved. Now therefore be it ordained by the Fiscal Court of County of Bullitt, Commonwealth of Kentucky. Section 1, that the above property located in the unincorporated area of Bullitt County, and more particularly described in the minutes and records of the Planning Commission in docket number 2023Z-60, is hereby changed from agricultural to R1 residential. Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect upon passage and publication as required by law. Section 3, should any section, provision, or part of this ordinance be declared unconstitutional or invalid for any reason by a court of competent jurisdiction, then the remainder of this ordinance shall not be affected and shall remain in full force and effect. Section 4, all ordinances and resolutions to the extent that they are inconsistent herewith are hereby repealed. Given first reading and public hearing at a regular meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on the 7th day of November 2023, given second reading at a regular meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on the 21st day of November 2023.
Thank you, Tammy.
I'll put that in the form of a motion to accept and approve the recommendation of the Planning Commission for zoning ordinance 2023Z-41.
Second.
Got a motion by second district magistrate Lawson, a second by fourth district magistrate Leamel to approve zoning ordinance 2023Z-41. Lily Gentry. Sam, call roll, please.
Johnson?
Yes.
Leamel?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Sanders?
Yes.
Logston?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Second reading for zoning ordinance 2023-42.
Commonwealth of Kentucky, County of Bullitt, zoning ordinance number 23-42. An ordinance relating to the changing of zoning of certain property from conservation to R1 residential. The property in question is 1.23 acres, more or less, located at 409 Myers Road, parcel number 050-000-00-051G, in an unincorporated area of the county. Whereas the Fiscal Court of Bullitt County has considered the evidence of the public hearing held by the Joint Planning Commission and the recommendations of the Commission, the information provided in the staff report of the Office of Bullitt County Planning and Zoning, and the testimony and evidence presented at the public hearing held by the Fiscal Court, and whereas the Fiscal Court concurs in and adopts the reasons of the Joint Planning Commission for said zoning change, and approves and accepts the recommendations of the Planning Commission in this matter as set out in said minutes, and determines that the proposed zoning change is acceptable and should be approved. Now therefore be it ordained by the Fiscal Court of County of Bullitt, Commonwealth of Kentucky, Section 1, that the above property located in the unincorporated area of Bullitt County, and more particularly described in the minutes and records of the Planning Commission in docket number 2023Z-63, is hereby changed from conservation to R1 residential. Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect upon passage and publication as required by law. Section 3, should any section, provision, or part of this ordinance be declared unconstitutional or invalid for any reason by a court of competent jurisdiction, then the remainder of this ordinance shall not be affected and shall remain in full force and effect. Section 4, all ordinances and resolutions, to the extent that they are inconsistent herewith, are hereby repealed. Given first reading and public hearing at a regular meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on the 7th day of November, 2023, to be given second reading at a regular meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on the 21st day of November, 2023.
Thank you, Tammy.
I'll make a motion that we accept the Bullitt County Planning Commission's recommendation on zoning ordinance 2023Z-42. Janet Jenkins.
Second.
Got a motion by Fourth District Magistrate Blamo, a second by First District Magistrate, Sanders, to approve the recommendation from Planning and Zoning on zoning ordinance 2023Z-42. Janet Jenkins. Sam, call the roll, please.
Blamo,
Yes.
Judge Summers,
Yes.
Sanders,
Yes.
Logston,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
motion carried.
Thank you. I'm going to make a motion to appoint our amendment to the Water Advisory Board, term to expire 12/30/2026.
A second.
And I have a second by First District Magistrate Sanders. Sam, call the roll, please.
Judge Summers,
Yes.
Sanders,
Yes.
Logston,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Blamo,
Yes.
motion carried.
Thank you. I'll make a motion to approve Robin Thomas to the Bullitt County Extension Agency, term to expire 12/30/2026.
I'll second.
Got a second by Third District Magistrate Johnson. Sam, call the roll, please.
Sanders,
Yes.
Logston,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Blamo,
Yes.
Judge Summers,
Yes.
motion carried.
Thank you. I'm going to make a motion to appoint Linda Ellis to complete Ted Corfish's term on the Bullitt County Extension Agency, term to expire 12/31/2025.
Second.
Got a second by Fourth District Magistrate Blamo. Sam, call the roll, please.
Logston,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Blamo,
Yes.
Judge Summers,
Yes.
Sanders,
Yes.
motion carried.
I'm going to make a motion to appoint Pete Montgomery to the Zone Fire District Board, term to expire 6/30/2027.
I'll second.
Got a second by Third District Magistrate Johnson. Sam, call the roll, please.
Johnson,
Yes.
Blamo,
Yes.
Judge Summers,
Yes.
Sanders,
Yes.
Logston,
Yes.
motion carried.
In your packet, for clarity, for new hires for EMS, animal control, and, we've added one more this morning, or yesterday. Oh, for the road department. New hires at EMS, you can see the effective dates, with Robert Jenkins, Julie Riblet, Catherine Newton, John Boltonkamp, William Wiley, Eura Beach, Charles Watts, and Bobby Haywood. I'd also like to extend my, personal thanks to Rebecca. Rebecca has taken a position Sue. She's the Assistant Director of EMS. We can't thank you enough for your service and what you've done to move our service forward, but she's willing to stay here part-time and say part-time paramedic. Thank you, Rebecca, for all you've done. So, I'm gonna put that in the form of a motion for all new hires, and moving people forward as well.
I'll second.
And I have a second by Second District Magistrate Lawson. Any other questions from the members of the court? There was a real good newscast about the disparity of EMS, for EMTs, and paramedics. It's not just here in Kentucky, but it's nationwide. We're going to try and get that news clip to present to you all. It's a national newscast. Sam, call the roll, please.
Flemo,
Yes.
Judge Summers,
Yes.
Sanders,
Yes.
Logston,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
motion carried.
Thank you. Animal control, Maisie McGill, full-time attendant, 1425 in R, and backdated to 11/9, they said needed help.
You got that in the motion?
Yes.
I'll second that.
Any discussion, members? Sam, call the roll, please.
Judge Summers,
Yes.
Sanders,
Yes.
Logston,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Flemo,
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you. Road Department hired Jacob Wood, seasonal snow removal driver at $26 an hour, 11/21/23. That's a form of a motion.
Second.
Got a second by Fourth District Magistrate Blaine. Sam, call roll, please.
Sanders,
Yes.
Logston,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Flemo,
Yes.
Judge Summers,
Yes.
motion carried.
Thank you. Number 11, in your packet by law, we have to publish our holidays and closures for 2024. You'll see it in your packet.
About 10.
Pardon?
Number 10, before that.
Oh, fiscal court dates, I'm sorry. I was on the second page of this. And fiscal court dates are first for 2024. As you see, there's some adjustments in there for the presidential election day as well. We have to be closed by law. Any discussion? If not, I need a motion to approve those dates.
So moved.
And,
Second.
got a motion by Fourth District Magistrate Blamble, a second by Fourth District Magistrate Sanders. Sam, call roll, please.
Logston,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Flemo,
Yes.
Judge Summers,
Yes,
Sanders,
Yes.
motion carried.
thank you. Also attached is the 2024 holiday schedule and closures for the Bullitt County fiscal court.
I'll make a motion that we approve the 2024 holiday schedule as presented.
I'll
Second.
second.
Okay, we have a motion by Second District Magistrate Boston, a second by Third District Magistrate Johnson to approve the holiday and closure schedule as presented for 2024. Sam, call roll, please.
Johnson,
Yes.
Flemo,
Yes.
Judge Summers,
Yes.
Sanders,
Yes.
Logston,
Yes.
motion carried.
Thank you. We have one more resolution, 23-08, authorizing the county clerk's election equipment grant application.
Fiscal year 2022-2024, House Bill 1, County Clerk Election Equipment Grant. Authorizing Resolution 23-08, County of Bullitt. Adoption of a resolution of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court authorizing the filing of a Kentucky House Bill 1, County Clerk's Election Equipment Grant application for up to $187,000 in House Bill 1 project funds with the Department for Local Government, authorizing and directing the Bullitt County Judge Executive to execute any documents which are deemed necessary by DLG to carry out this project, and authorizing the Judge Executive to act as the authorized correspondent for this project. Whereas Bullitt County desires to purchase election equipment approved by the State Board of Elections on behalf of the residents of Bullitt County by supporting the House Bill 1 project. And whereas it is recognized that House Bill 1 monies available to the county for the purposes stated herein pursuant to 2022 Kentucky General Assembly House Bill 1 Budget Bill impose certain obligations and responsibilities upon the county and will require, among other things, 1, approval of a satisfactory application transmitted to SBE for approval, and 2, other obligations of the county in connection with receiving the House Bill 1 grant of monies for the purposes stated herein. Now therefore be it resolved on this 21st day of November 2023 by Bullitt County Fiscal Court that a House Bill 1 County Clerk Election Equipment Grant application on behalf of the county for House Bill 1 monies up to $187,000 for election equipment grant application project. Project shall be submitted to DLG. The county shall provide such additional information and furnish such documentation as may be required, and the county judge executive shall act as the authorized correspondent for this project.
Thank you, Tammy. I need a motion.
No, it's a resolution.
Okay. I'll put it in the form of a motion.
Got a motion by 4th District Magistrate Lingle, a second by 3rd District Magistrate Johnson to approve the resolution 23-08, authorizing the county clerk's election equipment grant application by the President Treasurer's office. Sam, call roll, please.
Lamel,
Yes.
Judge Summers,
Yes.
Sanders,
Yes.
Logston,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
motion carried.
Thank you. And also, we have a surplus list from the E911 Center, the Bullitt County Sheriff's Office for surplus items. The list is attached, most all of them are 65-inch TVs that are obsolete for the way that we use our dispatch.
I'll put that in the form of a motion that we approve the surplus of items from the Sheriff's Office E911 Center surplus.
Second.
Got a motion by 2nd District Magistrate Logston, a second by 4th District Magistrate Lingle to approve the surplus items list from the E911 Center. Sam, call roll, please.
Judge Summers,
Yes.
Sanders,
Yes.
Logston,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Lamel,
Yes.
motion carried.
Thank you. At this time, comments from the members of the court. I'd like to start with Mr. Lingle first, if that's fair enough, Brian.
Only thing I've got is, so next month will be the first night meeting, December 5th, I believe.
Yes.
30.
And that's the first night meeting before we'll have next year as well. December 5th, 6:30, here in Fiscal Court. Thank you, Brian. Karen?
I just wanted to mention we were in Lexington last week for the Keiko convention. We always have a good time. Learn a lot at. So we're trying to get caught up. But today is Hillview's Thanksgiving Day dinner there at the Government Center on Crestwood. Make some time for that today if you can. It goes till 7 o'clock tonight. That's always good. So I hope everybody has a good Thanksgiving. All the holidays coming up. Be safe.
Thank you, Karen. Sean?
A couple things. One, if anybody in here would like to help, on December the 14th, it's a Thursday, we're accepting toys and gift cards, blankets, gloves, for our 6th year doing this. This will be Christmas for the kids at Paracott Springs. I think Karen may have reached out to you, Perry. Has anybody talked to you about that? Yeah. We've got, I think right now to date, I think there's 157 people signed up for that event. This is the 6th year we've done this, and I've teamed up with a couple other businesses, a Bound Credit Union, Shepherdsville Family Health Clinic right here. They see a lot of people through their doors there locally that need help and need a hand up. We've utilized resources from Turnaround and some other people throughout the community. But if you know a family, and I don't know, it might be nice to, we might get an invitation to the family, if you haven't already. But if anybody knows a family that needs a hand up, it's a really nice event. This is the 6th year. Paracott Springs is an amazing partner. They donate all the food in the facility, and we allow people to come in. that needs a hand up, and we provide Christmas toys for the kids and a nice dinner. Santa Claus is there. So this is the 6th year we put this on. It's really amazing to see it happen. This year, though, my personal business has changed a little bit at Mount Washington. We've done a car cruise in the past there in Mount Washington. We're not doing one in Mount Washington this year, so I'm going to be looking for other ideas. We've got just, less than a month here, but I'll probably end up doing some type of car cruise here in Shepherdsville, just a drop-off. But if you know of any local businesses looking for somebody to partner with, this is a great event. It really is. Everybody here is 100% from Bullitt County right here in our area, and it's a good opportunity. So if you know anybody that you think could benefit from coming to this event, reach out to me and we'll make sure they got a ticket and a reserved spot there. But it's really nice. They'll get to come in, see Santa Claus, bring their kids in, and all their kids will walk away with more presents than they can carry. It's really nice. So if you know anybody needs some help, come see me. We'll want to make sure that we get them added to that. And another thing, Small Business Saturday is coming up. I know some different cities in the community celebrating that different, but I read something. If you spend your money with a small business, they're gonna recognize that. A larger business, Amazon, what's the new one now? Temu, or everybody's buying off of. But I always like seeing that ad on Facebook that goes around. I've seen that meme that says, does Temu or Temu, what is it? Surely somebody bought from there. Nobody knows what I'm talking about?
Yeah, you're right.
Okay. If you bought from them or Amazon, everybody's seen that little ad that says they're not sponsoring your kid's Little League team. So there's a lot of local businesses here that do a lot, in sponsorships and helping people out. As we enter the holiday season, I just encourage you to maybe shop local too and visit some of those local spots. It really will, add a lot of money to our local economy and help those businesses out. And then lastly, Thanksgiving just right here, just a couple days away. I hope everybody has a wonderful Thanksgiving, and I'm just thankful for the opportunity to be up here as well. So thank you all.
Thank you, Sean. Vera?
Yes, last week I was at a conference in Waco. It was a good week. The holidays. I'd like to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. And I hope everybody enjoys that every week.
Thank you, Vera. Okay.
I'd like to remind Bruce, be sure he takes his umbrella. Umbrella. I'll be the reminder.
Thank you, Vera. I do have one more order of business before I deliver my comments. After the December 5th meeting, we have one scheduled for the 19th. And it's always been, it's so involved in Christmas. I would like for the clerk to consider to cancel that meeting and move this to a special meeting on the 14th of December, which is a Thursday at 3 p.m. So we can just clean up bills. We have bills that come in on December 6th, and they won't push them forward, which is a little bit indifferent. So I'd like to put that in the form of a motion, a more discussion with the members of the board.
I second it.
I have a second, First District Magistrate Sanders. Any other discussion, members?
14th, 2 p.m.
14th at 3 p.m. Yes, sir. Sam, call the roll, please.
Sanders,
Yes.
Logston,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Flammel,
Yes.
Judge Summers.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you, court members of the court. I would like to recognize Shepherdsville City Council woman, Faith Portman, for being here today. Faith, it's good to see you again. Also, Teresa Preston from Lebanon Junction City Council. Good to see you as usual. And Kevin Mooney, our county clerk. Glad to see you here today also. And I guess in my closing comments is, I'll ditto all the comments of the court. Our next meeting will be December 5th at 6:30 here in Fiscal Courtroom. And also, I can't thank this court enough for what they've been able to accomplish this year. And we'll be looking forward to next year and moving forward. And when it comes to KIPTA, we have worked KIPTA so hard in the last
Second.
Got a motion by the first district manager Sanders, second by fourth district manager Flamo. To discuss the vote in fiscal court on November 21st.
Logston? Johnson? Blemo?
Yes.
Judge Summers? Sanders? Motion carried.